Welcome to Fun and Games Side Quests. Every episode is a different host sharing a video game they love and why they love it.
Hello everyone, my name is Sam. I'm a college professor, and for my side quest, I decided to talk about why I love Dynasty Warriors 5 for the PlayStation 2. I was introduced to the Dynasty Warriors franchise my freshman year of college when other friends in the dorm were playing Dynasty Warriors 3 on the PlayStation 2. I got to play it a little bit. I enjoyed it. It was kind of goofy, but it was a fun, simple action game, good hack and slash action. So I played a little bit of Dynasty Warriors 3, tried out Dynasty Warriors 4 when one of my friends bought that. And then for my 21st birthday, I finally got a PlayStation 2. So a few years after being introduced to this franchise, I have my PS2. I did try out Dynasty Warriors 4 Empires, which takes sort of a Risk style approach to Dynasty Warriors, which can be fun. But then finally, Dynasty Warriors 5 came out, and I was able to purchase that. This game is one of the reasons why I got a PlayStation 2. At the time when I was asking for it for my birthday, my mom was saying, "Well, are you sure you want that?" Because the person at Best Buy said maybe you'd want an Xbox instead. I said, "No, I want a PlayStation 2 because I want to play Dynasty Warriors." I might not have told her that directly, but that's what was going on in my head. So the reason I love Dynasty Warriors 5, for one, if you're listening to this, I assume that you're familiar with the Dynasty Warriors franchise, based on the story, the romance of the three kingdoms in ancient China. In the battles that are provided in Dynasty Warriors 5, it ranges from about 180 AD to 234 AD, so spanning over 50 years of conflict essentially between these different Chinese warlords. You have the three kingdoms of Shu, Wei and Wu, and then you also in the game have some other warlords that are part of the story as well. So that's a separate category. But it is the typical Dynasty Warriors approach. You have an overpowered character that you're playing with that can take on hundreds of opponents at a time, basically wiping them out at will until you occasionally run into an officer or a general that at least puts up a little bit more of a fight. It's a chaotic type of approach. You're running around on the battlefield. Officers on both sides of the fight are constantly barking out orders or giving you updates of what's going on different parts of the battlefield. So the game is constantly telling you what's going on, what you might need to do to help turn the tide of the battle. For me, I was always pressing pause to see the map. There's a great in-game map that lays out everything as far as where the bases are, where each of the officers are. There's a log where you can see every single event that's taking place. So for me, as kind of a baby when it comes to gaming, it was a good way to sort of hold my hand through the process. But I just enjoyed the simple hack and slash action of the game. And when I finally got Dynasty Warriors 5 on my own PlayStation 2, I really got to dive into it more. What I really like about Dynasty Warriors 5 is its focus on the individual characters. I've played some of the earlier versions and then also some of the later ones. I've played a little bit of Dynasty Warriors 7, Dynasty Warriors 8 I have on my Nintendo Switch, which is also a great game. But I always go back to 5 as my favorite because of its focus on the individual characters. There's almost 50 different characters in the game that you can select and take through their own story mode. Essentially, each of those characters has at least 4 or 5 battles or stages that make up their story. Some of the more prominent characters, like the leaders of each of the kingdoms, have more than that, so you get more detailed story there. Between each of the stages, you get a little bit of narration from the character that you're playing as. You get the occasional more cinematic cutscene between battles as well, or leading into a battle. Within a battle, there's also a bunch of cutscenes, which when I would watch my friends play, they would always skip them in the middle of a battle, or even the more cinematic cutscenes before the battles they would skip. And that always bothered me because that was just one of the things I enjoyed about the game, was just the little bits of story that get sprinkled in. Yes, it gets to be a bit repetitive with some of them, but that was just I never skip the cutscenes when I'm playing the game. I just always want that to be part of it. I feel like that's part of the story. The memories I have of this game, for the most part, are I bought it when I was in college, and I was playing on the PS2. But what I really think about most is in playing in my parents' basement with my older brother. We would sit in the basement. At first, he kind of would tease me about it. He thought the game was kind of goofy, but then he got into it too. And this game does have co-op. You can play two characters at a time in a battle, and you can also play against each other in duels and things like that. We would do occasional co-op, but usually it was one of us would play and the other one would sit and watch, and we would just talk about whatever, whether it was going on in the game or anything else. And we would spend hours in the basement just playing this game. Really enjoyed just that kind of uh, environment of just sitting there, enjoying the game, chilling out. It's a pretty simple game. You run around, you knock people out, you run into castles, you do whatever else. It has a lot of features that I enjoyed. The music is kind of a common thing that comes up when talking about this game. There's a lot of hard rock music, a lot of guitar. For me, that's fine. It doesn't really bother me. Occasionally, there's certain battles, there's certain types of songs that start to play at a certain time in the battle that actually I think really add to the element and make it that much more enjoyable. You kind of get into it more. And then other times you just kind of ignore it because it's silly or whatever else. The voiceover work also is kind of a traditionally funny thing with Dynasty Warriors. I will apologize in advance for any mispronunciations, but when I played Dynasty Warriors 3, 4, and 5, one of the main characters was always referred to as Cow Cow. So I just always assumed it was Cow Cow. It wasn't until years later that I'm like, oh no, it's Sao Sao. So that was just kind of a funny thing with, and there's so many other examples that I learned later on in Dynasty Warriors 5, but then played in later games or found in later media. I'm like, oh, they're actually not pronouncing most of this right, but still, it's part of the fun. What I really like about this one that I think sets it apart from the other ones again is each player getting their own story, which then allows you to unlock other characters. Like once you finish a certain character story, I remember getting this game, and I think the first one I chose was Guan Yu from the Shu Kingdom, and he has a very fun story in the game. He's a very kind of historic legend in this overall. Um, Tale. So to play through all of his, and then at the very end in his last battle, one of the main generals you fight against in the last battle is Pang Da, or I think they call him Pang Day in this version of the game, but I believe Pang Da is maybe closer as far as the pronunciation. And he's really hard in that last battle. I remember that took me so much longer. Usually a battle can take 10, 15, maybe 20 minutes, depending on how thorough you are working through the battlefield, but you can knock out a character's entire storyline in a couple hours. This battle took me forever. I had to keep attacking him and then retreating, getting more health, going back until finally defeating him. And then after doing that, he became available to play. So then I'm like, okay, now I can play through this character's storyline. So I really enjoyed getting each of the stories for all the different characters. You level up your characters, they get stronger, you get special weapons. That was another thing I learned after a long time of playing the game. I just was randomly playing a battle one day, and there's a battle in the game where one of the characters on your side gets ambushed and dies. It turns out if you are at the site of the ambush and can prevent it from happening, that character doesn't die, and then you get a special item, which ends up, in that case, being a harness for a horse, which means you can start every battle now riding around on a horse, which is really helpful, especially if you have a slower character. So once I found this out, then I started looking for guides or walkthroughs of how I could unlock all of these other special items, get fourth level weapons, which requires you to fight battles on the hard setting. So the difficulty ranges from easy to medium to hard to chaos, which I'll admit, I never really played chaos level. I was good with playing normal or hard level, depending on which character and which storyline I was playing with. But it was just so much fun. And for myself and my brother playing together or playing with my buddies in college, this was kind of like our version of Roman Empire. Like this is what we would always talk about, of just kind of joking about all the different things in the game and the characters and all of those types of things. Another fun thing I think about getting into this franchise was that I then became aware of other media related to Dynasty Warriors and the Three Kingdoms saga. So I tracked down the book. There was a version online, so I read through that at various points of like the actual romance of the Three Kingdoms. So much depth, so many more details about the characters and the stories and the battles and everything that goes with that. I found other games related to it. So there's an Empire's version of Dynasty Warriors 5, where again it's a risk style type of game where you're playing with these characters but trying to take over the map of China. That would, for me, be an honorable mention for a side quest. It's another game that I really love, but I still go back to the original Dynasty Warriors 5 because of the depth of story that you get with each of the characters. There's movies based off of this as well, and more recent movies. I know there is a Dynasty Warriors movie. For me, it's fine. I actually gravitate more to a movie called Red Cliff, which came out a few years back. It's a John Woo movie. You can find the international version. It's available to stream on a few different platforms. If you're more into it like me, you can also get the extended edition, which is like a 2-disc, 4-hour version of the movie. It's great. It's a lot of fun. So just finding more ways to enjoy these characters, this overall story. So it's just, again, it's a simple game. I really enjoy it. I had to actually, before doing this side quest, I had to go back and dig it out of storage and put it into the PlayStation 2 that I still have, fired it up, and it still feels great to play it. I also play Dynasty Warriors 8 a lot on my Switch when I have a chance, but for me, 5 is always sort of the classic one that I hold up as really the peak for me of playing this particular franchise. So I would highly encourage you to. I know people can sometimes be dismissive of Dynasty Warriors for a number of reasons. I understand that it's not everybody's cup of tea, but I think it's a really great game. I think it's something you can have a lot of fun with playing on your own or with some friends or whoever else. It's a great way to enjoy the story, and I would really encourage you to track it down, find a way to play it if you can. So I appreciate everybody listening today. Hope I convinced at least some of you to give this a try, or even other Dynasty Warriors games a try. I know there's a new one that just came out with Dynasty Warriors Origins, which appears to be getting good reviews as well. But if you can, play Dynasty Warriors 5. It can get on PlayStation 2. I believe Xbox also eventually had a port. However you can track that down, strongly recommend from me. So thanks, everybody. This is Sam again. Thanks for listening. Thank you to Matt and Jeff for a great podcast. I'm really enjoying catching up on episodes since I've become aware of the podcast, and just really appreciate having this type of a platform where everybody can share different things about the games that they love. So thanks, everybody, for listening, and happy gaming.
This is We Burlesque.
Hi, this is Victor Vaughn, and I run the We Burlesque Podcast Network. I am currently in my
7th
season of the We Burlesque Podcast, which began so many episodes ago, and I've been so delighted and intrigued to learn about our colleagues and our friends in the industry. So if you enjoy being a wallflower in the dressing room and hearing all about what we do, why we do it, and what's left to do, please go to Apple, Spotify, Stitcher, iHeartRadio, Google, Libsyn, and probably some other ones I don't even know about. Oh, we're on Audible now. How neat is that? We're on frickin' Audible. Oh, so go to your platform of choice, hit subscribe when you find We Burlesque. That's WEBURLESQUE. I should know how to spell it by now. So, or you can go to WeBurlesquePodcast.com. That's all one word. That's WEBURLESQUEPODCAST.com. Yeah, that should do it. Or on Instagram at WEBURLESQUE. That's it. Hi. So, anyway, be well, be safe, and let's talk.
CPOV.
CertainPOV.com